well, but Washington looked like a complete team today. Their running backs played well, their wide receivers played well, their quarterback played well, their defense played well. They looked like a complete team win, 25-3. It was nice to see, and it was an awful day out there weather-wise, but hey, didn't matter.
Yeah. You know what, Charlotte? It was cold, and to all our fans out there who maybe wanted to be in this stadium, I guess you can call it football weather, but for me, I was like, I'd rather have like hot chocolate maybe inside. But speaking of the fans, make sure you comment on our Facebook page. Charlotte and I, we're going to read your comments. We're going to answer your questions. And my main question to start off this post-game show for the Washington football team after a win is, do you feel like this team can now win this division? They beat the Dallas Cowboys, a team that's actually was in first place in the NFC East. I believe the Philadelphia Eagles have the lead now.
Right.
But we saw a great football team today, a team that really dominated a Dallas team that we haven't seen in years. I mean, first win over Dallas in 2 years. I believe it was almost 2 years ago, maybe 3 or 4 days ago. So it was a positive win for Washington. We saw a lot of what we've been wanting to see throughout the last 5 or 6 weeks. And now they're on the winning side of things, and they go into that bye week. And Charlotte, here's what the players and coach had to say about getting their first win in a long time.
Today was the first time I feel like all season we played complimentary four-quarter football. Offense converted on some third downs. O-line controlled the line of scrimmage. We hit big plays. We ran the ball great. Defense got some stops, got some turnovers, and special teams flipped the field. If you want to win in this league, that's what you have to do consistently, and it starts with the way you execute.
I think it's just a toughness. I think it's a grit, and it starts with our head coach. Our head coach is going through cancer right now. He's getting treatment. He's getting chemo, and then he's showing up the next day at work. He's setting the example for us, and it's right in front of our eyes.
I definitely feel like our energy from last game carried over to this week throughout practice. We had a great practice, and we showed it on the field today with the offense, helping out the defense, and the defense helping out the offense, and also on special teams phase. And we finally put it all together, and it showed up on the scoreboard.
I think it's very important, especially with the fact that we have another division opponent coming up after the bye. And it's an opportunity for us to, hopefully hunker in and play well and see what happens and come out on the right side of that. We can be right in the thick of what's going on in our division. We have one of the tiebreakers right now over the team that's leading the division, although they got a half game lead on us. So who knows? And again, we'll see. We'll compete and we'll work hard and try and get things done.
And so Ron Rivera was talking about that half-game lead. Of course, they're talking about the Philadelphia Eagles. If you remember, Week 1, they opened up the season beating the Eagles here at FedEx Field. But if you look at this division, Charlotte, there's still a great chance that the Washington football team could win this division and make the playoffs, despite struggling at the beginning of this season.
That's right. And you mentioned they beat the Eagles. Now they beat the Cowboys. They can beat the Giants. They are capable of beating the Giants, and they'll face the Giants in 2 weeks. And yeah, I think this division is really anybody's to win right now. As we just saw those standings, crazy to think that the team on top of the division has just 2 wins. Yeah, but that's the NFC East in 2020 for you. So it really is anybody's division to win. And the way they played today, if they can play like this every single week, well, then I think we're seeing a turning point for this Washington football team. And I'm seeing some comments already on our Facebook page and people agreeing they really played well in all phases of the game today. And I think that's what we saw. The defense stellar, the offense, wow, making moves, and we saw some career games from some people. Logan Thomas, a career game. He had, 60 yards. He had a huge touchdown there. And then, of course, Antonio Gibson having a career game, 20 rushes on the ground for over 100 yards. And our boy, Terry McLaurin, he always comes through for us. And again, he came through today, almost 100 yards.
Yeah, we'll talk about some of those guys like Terry McLaurin and his trash talk with another local guy who actually plays for the Dallas Cowboys. And we'll also get on Antonio Gibson in just a little bit. Some great stuff. We'll hear from those players about their performance a little bit later. But when you're talking about that offense, Charlotte, one thing I was mentioning during our Facebook Live before the game, I was saying that in order for Washington to beat the Dallas Cowboys is to have over 400 total yards of offense. Now, I will say this. Dallas is 2-0 when they hold their opponent under 400 total yards of offense. They are 0-4 when they don't. Washington, I believe, had 396 total yards of offense. It's not 400, but it's pretty close enough. But you see how teams can actually dominate this Dallas team. I I put it out there. I give a lot of credit to Washington, but Dallas has a lot of work to do on the defensive side. There's a reason why they're one of the worst defenses in the NFL as of right now. I mean, they're on pace, I believe, coming into this game in a matter of points that they've been giving up is like the 4th worst in NFL history. So we'll give a nice golf clap to what Washington did on offense. But remember, though, the defense they were going against was very weak.
They were, and we saw that. I mean, it looked like that offense from Washington could just pick them apart. They were changing it up. They started with the run game, then they go to the pass game, and it seemed like anything that Kyle Allen did, the Cowboys really couldn't stop him. And we haven't seen that. We've seen a different Washington team up until now, but it was nice to be able to see this Washington offense finally execute. And as the players said after the game, they were finally able to run those plays that they had been practicing in practice all week long, and they were finally able to see a good result.
People are sleeping on Logan. And mostly because Logan, is just learning to play the position. So Logan, I think, is a guy that, can continue to grow in his role for us. So I'm pretty excited about that. I think Antonio, with the other complementary backs that we have, if those 3 guys continue to work the way they do and progress, and we get the offensive line play that we've had, we have a chance.
Just learning the game, starting to get a feel for each and every game. It's new to me to get this many reps at running back. So, just learning every week, knowing where my blockers are going so I can, kind of anticipate where I need to go before the play actually happens, helps a lot. So, just being patient and trusting my blockers is where I feel like I grew it, in the past 2 weeks.
Yeah, I think we established the run game early, which was huge for us. It's something that we hadn't really done in previous games, and come out and we committed to the run. We established it early. Our running backs and our O-line played so well today, and it just opens up everything else for us. So to get that started, obviously you guys just had Antonio up here. He had a great game, but all the backs ran the ball really well today. The O-line blocked it really well today, and it just opens up everything for us. So that was a huge part of it.
Yeah, that O-line, again, they stepped up today as well. As he mentioned, they had some solid blocks. They were able to allow Antonio Gibson to do his thing with 128 yards, Logan Thomas to do his thing, and then, of course, our guy, Terry McLaurin, having a game as well.
Yeah, well, what was funny, and I was able to witness this, you guys probably saw it on television, but I was here in the stadium, and, Trayvon Diggs, he's a corner, plays for the Dallas Cowboys, but he's a local guy. He's from, went to high school out in Wheaton. I'm trying to remember the name of the school. Matter of fact, let me look it up. Avalon High School. But he's also the younger brother of Stephon Diggs, who now plays for the Buffalo Bills. A great receiver, had a great playoff run with the Minnesota Vikings, former Terp. But he was talking trash to Terry McLaurin. Talking a lot of trash, maybe too much trash for a rookie. And Terry McLaurin, he's in his 2nd year, and he's proven nothing but success so far in this league. And this is what Terry had to say after Trayvon was talking junk to him, and then he scored on him the very next play.
Well, he's a competitive player. Wasn't really thinking any personal. I'll probably just keep the details on the field, but I'm a competitive person as well. And for the most part, I'm pretty calm throughout the game. When you kind of poke at me a little bit, it kind of ups my play and my energy a little bit more. And it just so happened that next play was being called. So I knew we were going to get the look. I knew he was going to be sitting. And I just wanted to clear his hands when I got to the junction point. And Kyle threw a great ball. Our O-line held up great. And I just wanted to run under and make a play for our team. So I'm gonna bring it every week. And I know I'm going to get the DB's best shot as well. But I'm going to try to keep a cooler head. But I'm a really competitive guy. So that was kind of what that was about.
What was it like after that? Any more talking?
Nah, it wasn't too much after that. And we spoke after the game, and I like his game. I like his confidence. I know it's his first year in the league, but there wasn't a whole lot of talking after that. But I just wanted to try to make a play for our team and try to keep it going throughout the rest of that game.
And Darren, yeah, for those of us watching that moment on TV, we saw that little incident. We'll call it an incident. He walked over. You could tell he was talking trash to him. Terry really didn't want to hear it at all. And then the very next play, Terry with the touchdown. And as he said, he didn't have much to say after that.
Nah, he gave him his welcome to the NFL type of thing.
Love it. Love it. And we're getting a lot of
better not
props
talk trash
to Terry
next time because he knows what could happen.
Oh, yeah. And we're seeing on our Facebook page, Yeah, Scary Terry doing his thing. So yeah, I think a lot of people enjoyed that. Of course, Washington football fans enjoyed seeing that and seeing some success today. What has it been, 5 weeks? We've been talking about losses. 5 weeks we've been talking about struggles and just seeing these struggles. And finally, we get to talk about some fun stuff for a change, Darren.
Yeah, because usually we're out here like, okay, 2-game losing streak, 3-game losing streak, 4-game, 5-game. Yeah, finally we can talk about a win, and we can highlight a lot of these players who stepped up. We were mentioning Antonio Gibson having over 100 yards, like you were mentioning earlier, and I was wondering what was happening with Antonio Gibson. Matter of fact, when I came into FedEx Field, I saw his family, and I've always been a fan of his style, and I was like, who's the mom? Who's the mom? And the mom raised her hand, and I was like, I'll just be honest, I am a fan of your son. And the thing about Antonio Gibson is, he was a receiver at Memphis, and he's still trying to learn how to be a running back. And the fact that he can make that transition as a receiver to a running back position in the NFL and have this kind of success that he did today, over 100 yards, I mean, you got to give him a lot of props. The Washington football team hasn't had a running back rush for over 60 yards all season. And he crosses over the 100-yard mark. So a lot of great things now for Antonio Gibson moving forward, Charla.
Yeah, and we listened to him post-game, and he said he's learning. It's a learning process, now transitioning into a primary running back role. As you mentioned, he mostly played receiver in college, and the hardest thing for him in this transition is that he gets beat up a little bit. He said, you take a lot more hits. So he said he feels good right now, but he admits that Monday morning he's probably going to feel sore. And we have to agree with that. 20 carries, he had 128 yards.
But he's like, almost 230 pounds.
Right.
The dude's fine. He'll be fine.
He'll walk it off.
And he's young, too. How old? He's like 22, 23 years old. He's absolutely fine. But here's what Antonio Gibson said after the game about his performance.
It just shows that, they trust in me. They believe what I can do. So just being able to, help out that much, it's kind of a blessing, with the linemen we got and the running back group that we have. We kept working. We didn't get down on ourselves. We just went to the drawing board and said, all right, this is what we need to work on. We focused on it. We gathered up. We've been having 2 weeks, I feel like a good practice, which led on to okay games. And this game, it showed out more.
All right, so Charlotte, I guess you have some fan reactions so far. The fans couldn't wait.
Yes.
I guess we had to give some comments out there before we even get to the comments section. It's so good. This is what happens, I guess, when you get a win. We
this
just can't
is exactly
wait.
what
Go ahead,
happened.
Charlotte.
So all week, the previous weeks, I should say, we've been following along, and not too many good comments. People are loving this week, and talking a little bit about the name change for the Washington football team and how we're still trying to find a permanent name for this team. They said that they need to be renamed the Dallas Cowgirls, talking about, of course, Dallas needs to be renamed. And then we're also seeing a lot of love for Washington, saying so glad they beat division rival Dallas. And that's a lot of what we're seeing on our Facebook page. Continue to comment, though. We want to hear how your feelings are. And I think a lot of people are just happy that not only they got a win, they got a win over Dallas.
Love the comment. You know how many families right now in the DMV area are just like talking trash to each other, especially now that Washington dominated Dallas. I mean, usually when they're tailgating out here at FedEx Field, it is a war outside. Maybe I should use a different word, but there's just so much trash talking because it's almost split even with how many Dallas Cowboy fans we have in this particular area. So for all the Cowboy fans out there, like my mother at home, I'm sorry, Mom. We're going to talk trash to you for a few more weeks.
And my parents at home as well in Texas.
Yeah, I guess all our parents are just having a bad weekend. It was not a bad, wasn't a bad weekend for the Washington defense. I mean, usually when we have these, what are we talking about? A team scored 30 or more points against them.
Right.
Well, you can put the 3 in there, but they only scored 3 points. And let's remember, though, Charla, how they scored those 3 points. As a matter of fact, it was right down here. It was just a kickoff return. It was a long kickoff return that set up that field goal. If they didn't give up that kickoff return, they may have had their first shutout since 1991.
Wow.
That's how close they were.
Yeah, this defense looked amazing, and they were coming at you all game. Cole Holcomb, he had a game. Now, this guy missed the last 4 games. He's finally back. He has a sack. He has 2 quarterback hits, and we're talking 2 hard quarterback hits. He was all over the place. Holcomb really having himself a game today.
Yeah. Oh, it was funny, Charlotte. I didn't know where we're going. Cole Holcomb said after the game that on that interception he had, that I don't remember the exact technique, but he did the right thing because he was thinking about doing the wrong thing, and he knew that if he did the wrong thing, coach was going to take him out.
Yeah.
So obviously he followed directions, he executed the play the right way, and ended up getting an interception. And best believe he probably went to the sidelines, and coach was just like, "I told you that would work. That's why you have to follow those directions." And that's what head coach Ron Rivera wants his players to do is to follow the guidance that they give, continue to grow, continue to learn, but at the same time, go out here to win. Here's what the players said about their defensive performance today.
I think so. I think the last few weeks have been pretty good. Once we've settled in, the nice thing is we've started fast the last couple of times, and I think that's helped us as a football team. It does show you sometimes when you do put points up on the board, how it kind of complements each other. So I think the things that we've seen, we can hopefully continue to build off of.
And it really was a complete defensive effort. We talked about Cole Holcomb. Obviously, he had a great game. But Montez Sweat, 2 sacks, 3 quarterback hits. Ryan Kerrigan, another big sack there, another quarterback hit. And they held the Cowboys to just 142 yards of total offense today. And again, just those 3 points. And if it wasn't for that long punt return, they might not have had those 3 points, could have had the shutout. The defense just looks stellar, making it real hard on the Cowboys offense. And yesterday, we heard from Jack Del Rio, and he was talking about one of the things he was concerned about going into this game was Ezekiel Elliott. He knew that the power of Zeke and that we've seen Zeke can run all over teams' defenses, and so he was really focusing on stopping the Cowboys' run game today, and I think they did just that. Zeke couldn't really do much.
Yes, they did.
Yeah.
No, not at all. I don't have the stat book in front of me, but I believe he only had maybe 50 or 60 something yards.
Yeah, that's what I'm
rushing,
saying. Yeah, I think it was
40.
Oh, here it is. 10 carries, 43 yards for Zeke. Wow.
Oh, 43 yards, even worse.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're looking at a guy like Ezekiel Elliott, who, I mean, he's a Pro Bowl guy. This is a running back. They're paying a lot of money to really step up and play. And I knew the Washington defensive front would be fine. It was the big plays and the defensive backs giving up big plays. That did not happen here at FedEx Field. But I always had confidence in Montez Sweat and Chase Young. And big shout out to Ryan Kerrigan, because Ryan Kerrigan only had 7 snaps the previous game, and his snaps are also limited today. But when he gets in there, he still gets to the quarterback.
Yeah.
Ryan Kerrigan will always be Ryan Kerrigan. What about John Bostic, though? Because that's a guy that I love a lot, a guy who can really hit some particular players, but his hit was a little bit different today, Charlotte.
You know what? That was really tough to watch. And, seeing the reaction on social media, seeing the reaction really across the league and fans on both sides, you never like to see a hit like that. I mean, we saw Andy Dalton sliding essentially there, and he came in. It was a helmet to helmet for those that didn't see, knocked Andy Dalton's helmet completely off. It was clear that he was rattled. Dalton really having some trouble getting up from that. He was able, with some help, to walk off the field, but we're talking probably a serious concussion here from Andy Dalton, and you just hate to see a quarterback be knocked out of the game with a hit like that. It wasn't a pretty hit. You saw Kendall Fuller, Bostic's teammate, not pleased with it either, shaking his head, because again, that's not what we want to see when we see an NFL game. You don't want to see, I'm going to call it a dirty hit. I mean, it didn't look good. It showed no respect. I didn't like it.
Yeah, it didn't look good. It didn't look good at all, Charlotte. I can't say I'll call it, and this is just for me. This is my opinion. I wouldn't call it a dirty hit. When you're out there on the field, it's a bang play. Things happen so quickly. However, we're in the day and age where if you make any helmet-to-helmet contact, if you hit the quarterback late, if you aim anywhere near the quarterback, or even dip your head like John Bostic did, you're going to get penalized for that. And the way this particular play happened, you can see in the slow-mo where John Bostic, sort of at that last minute, he dips his head, the crown of the helmet, and that is a big no-no in the NFL. And as much as I love John Bostic, he's one of my frat brothers, shout out to the Qs, that was one of those plays where, yes, there was definitely a penalty. He definitely needed to be ejected. And I would not be surprised if he gets fined by the NFL. And, of course, head coach Ron Rivera, who's also a defensive mind himself, played on the defensive side of the ball when he was in the NFL, he wasn't pleased.
I saw it. You'd like to tell John he's got to be smarter than that because he's a veteran guy that knows, and it's unfortunate because, we had a 3-and-out right there and they'd had to punt, and we'd gotten the ball back sooner. But, John's a savvy veteran guy and, that's a mistake, that he shouldn't make. And, it's unfortunate. And unfortunately enough for us, it didn't hurt us.
Stand by.
So, yeah, you could hear him saying.
Charlotte, we were speaking after the game. Mm-hmm. Oh, go ahead, Charlotte. No, go ahead.
Okay, I was just going to say, you can hear him saying that, he's disappointed in something like that. You never want to see that kind of tackle go down because that really wasn't a tackle. As we saw, it was helmet to helmet, and it really hurt Andy Dalton and knocking him out of the game there, and that's not something you want to see. And it didn't hurt the Washington football team, obviously. They were fine. They ended up winning the game 25-3, but again, not pleased with John Bostic over that.
Yeah, no, and obviously prayers for Andy Dalton.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's nothing too serious, with that concussion. But what does Dallas do moving forward? I mean, we don't have to talk that much about him, but Ezekiel Elliott's already out for the year. Who knows how long Andy Dalton's going to be out?
Right.
The quarterback who was in there was the same quarterback who brought James Madison to the national championship game in the FCS championship that lost to I believe it was North Dakota State. So you're on your third string quarterback now. Garrett Gilbert, I think, is the guy after that guy who went to the University of Texas around your hometown of Austin, Texas, by the way. Shout out to your Longhorns. But Garrett Gilbert is that backup who I remember him in college.
Yeah.
He struggled a little bit in college. He never had that breakout type of play, but he's still in the NFL. So Dallas is really very thin at their quarterback position moving forward if Andy Dalton doesn't make a quick turnaround.
Yeah, I mean, if he's out for a little bit.
What do some of the fans say, Charlotte?
I think so.
Win?
We do, and as you know, there's Cowboys fans everywhere. So it's not all Washington football team support here on our Facebook page because those Cowboys fans, they are everywhere. So you're still seeing hashtag Cowboys Nation.
They never go away, Charlotte.
Never go away.
They never go away. They're standing behind me right now, but they're invisible.
So you are seeing a lot of support though for the Cowboys, but then. You got here from Dante Gasaway Field saying, you know what, as long as we beat Dallas, that's all that matters. And Dante, I think a lot of people are with you, a lot of Washington football fans celebrating today. You got to win, and you got to win over the Dallas Cowboys.
Any other comments?
I'm looking.
If not, I mean, one thing fans. I got one thing fans should be excited about while you continue to comment on our Facebook page, you guys. If you look at the upcoming schedule, we can kind of bring that up. You look at the upcoming schedule for the Washington football team, and they have the bye week. So now a lot of those guys who maybe got injured can maybe bounce back. I know Montez Sweat went into the locker room. Maybe he was going to be okay. Let's hope Landon Collins is not too serious.
Yeah.
Maybe it's like an ankle sprain or something like that, and he can come back. But these 2 weeks allows these players to go home, be with their family. Ron Rivera was mentioning, saying instead of even eating off a paper plate or a plastic plate now, they can actually go home and eat off a real plate. All these COVID restrictions have really limited their normal life. So they can kind of regroup and bounce back. And when they bounce back, looking at this schedule, there's a lot of opportunities for this team to take advantage of their place in this division. Because you look at the Giants, and we already know they only have one win. They should have beat them the previous game, but they didn't. Hopefully this will give them some motivation after this bye week to beat them here at FedEx Field. And then you look at the Lions. Now, the Lions did win. They did win, but that's another team that's struggling. And then you have the Bengals, who lost again, who I believe the Bengals only have one win.
Yeah, I think so.
So you're looking at 3 straight games. Actually, matter of fact, 4, because they're playing the Dallas Cowboys in 4 weeks.
So the schedule
so you're
is
looking
on
at
their
possibly
side here.
The Washington football team. Yeah, correct. They could win 4 straight. Matter of fact, let's take this win into account. They could be on a 5-game winning streak in 4 weeks. I'm just saying.
And I'm seeing a comment here on Facebook kind of going along with that from Keenan Weems. He says, confidence often gives teams momentum going forward, and that is what we need. And yes, this was a great team win. I'm seeing that from a lot of people too. A great team win. They have the confidence. They played well. Now they have that bye, but now they're going into a schedule that's not tough. Let's be honest. This is not a tough schedule for the next 4 weeks. There you go. Giants, Lions, Bengals, Cowboys again. They can get 4 more wins.
The one threat that I see on that list, what was the guy's name? Keenan? I wanted to say Keenan Ivory Waynes. That's what it sounded like you said. Like, who's going to get you sucker, the whole Waynes brothers. But the one game that I'm going to kind of highlight that could be tough for Washington is going to Detroit to take on the Lions. If you look at all those games, I think the Lions are the biggest threat. And let's not forget, that's also Adrian Peterson's new team, the former Washington football running back, the future Hall of Famer. And, you know, I was speaking to him, I don't know, a few days ago, and we were kind of talking about this matchup going on, and he's looking forward to this matchup. And you got to think, the competitive guy that Adrian Peterson is, he's been in the league a long time, so you got to be competitive to be around this long. Best believe he has this game circled on his calendar well, that he really wants to perform really well to prove that Washington made the mistake on releasing him before the season started.
Oh, yeah, he has something to prove, for sure. He wants to show, Washington that, hey, you shouldn't have let me go too soon. Yeah, he's with 13 years in the NFL. We love Adrian Peterson, a great guy on and off the field. And I know you and I were sad to see him leave Washington. And I'm sure he has a lot to prove when they play Detroit in a few weeks.
Now speaking of leaving, the trade deadline's coming up, Charlotte. And this is, now that Washington can put their is in the running for the NFC East, you got to think, okay, will they trade some people out to try to build up their roster? And a lot of key names that are out there right now is Dwayne Haskins. You see Dwayne Haskins is not involved in the offense at all. He's a third-string guy. What did they do with him? And then the other key guy to think about, because Montez Sweat and Chase Young are playing so well right now, and they're young bodies, you got to think Ryan Kerrigan could be a guy they could get rid of. They could trade before the trade deadline to try to get somebody for. And listen, I love Ryan Kerrigan. He has done so much in this community. He is the all-time sack leader. Trust me, when his career is over, he will have his name up here at FedEx Field. Best believe that. And he does all the things with the leukemia golf tournament, the leukemia golf classic that he has, that he just had actually just last week, Tuesday, to help raise money for that, to find a cure for cancer. So he'll be a guy who'll be highly missed. But earlier this week, we got a chance to go one-on-one for our Rapid 9 segment with Ryan Kerrigan. The best of that is right here.
Rapid 9, sponsored by Toyota.
Ryan Kerrigan, Rapid 9. Ryan, who would you rather not give the keys to your car to? Anybody on this football roster?
Look, my car's old. I mean, I give the keys about just about anybody. I mean, it's hell. I don't know if anybody would want the keys to my car. Like, I got people walk through the parking lot. They're like, man, like, how old is that thing? I'm like, come on, man. Like, it was nice when I bought it.
If you can switch bodies with anybody from this team, who would you switch bodies with?
Probably Dustin Hopkins or Tress Way, because they're the specialists. Their bodies probably feel the freshest and the best.
You're stranded on an island, and you can only pick one of these two options. A Cowboys jersey to wear or get sunburned.
Fans might hate me, but I might have to put on the shirt because, I mean, that sun's no joke. The sun is, that'll cook you now.
And we do want to go back to some of our Facebook comments because we want to end on a good note. I mean, this has been a good day for Washington football, and I like what Thomas Kennerly says here. He says, yes, let's go Washington football team. This feels great. Love it, Thomas. And yeah, I think I'm seeing a lot of the same. Washington fans finally excited. It's a good Sunday here in the DMV.
Think about how good it feels for Ron Rivera getting that win going into the bye week. I mean, back-to-back wins over NFC East opponents, first time in 5 years. But then tomorrow he has his final cancer treatment. I would love for anybody to go into their last cancer treatment feeling good, feeling positive. I'm sure you need that. I've never had cancer, but positive energy is really beneficial for anybody going through some tough things. And Ron Rivera going into Monday, knowing he had that win for that final cancer treatment, prayers to him. So hopefully that everything goes fine. But getting that dub for Washington, that 25-3 win over your rival, the Dallas Cowboys, it's got to be a great feeling.
I really think you're right. Ron Rivera needed this. The team needed this. And yes, we wish Ron Rivera nothing but the best tomorrow. His final cancer treatment tomorrow. And then, of course, he'll be at practices all week as he's been. And, that's something we heard Kyle Allen touch on earlier, saying, hey, our coach is going into his final cancer treatment tomorrow. Our coach has been doing all of this while battling cancer. If he can do that, we can win these football games. And he said that his coach is the motivation that he often needs to get out there and play well. And yeah, there's nothing better than that, to have your coach showing you what real resilience is like and what motivation is like, and to do something like beat cancer in the middle of an NFL season. It's pretty incredible. We wish Ron Rivera nothing but the best tomorrow. And he said that his doctors are positive, that he has been responding well to these treatments. So we hope to see a very healthy Ron Rivera as this season continues. And we hope to see more wins from this Washington football team. Thanks so much for those of you who have watched on Facebook Live and on YouTube. We will be back here again, not next week because they will have a bye, but then the next week we'll be back here as they take on the Giants. For Darren Haynes and myself, thanks so much, guys, for tuning in. And you can always keep commenting on our Facebook page as the week goes on.